I'm focused on his spirit cause it keeps me from his fire. The Holy Ghost was with me, so my fear I leave behind. My sins were all diminished when he took that breath and died. And if you think I'ma give up on my God, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie.
Hello, this is Christina Barney watching Black Tea News. Oh boy, oh boy. Hello, everyone. This is Christina Barr, host of Black Tea News. Today, we're going to be talking about President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance meeting the President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelenskyy, in the Oval Office. And they're supposed to talk deals. And it did not go well. And I have seen a little, not even maybe like a snippet. I wanted to watch it live, I guess, with you guys. So I've seen a lot of people talking. I've seen a lot of commentary and reactions and tweets, and the world is kind of on fire right now, as far as like online and people talking about it. So if you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it, and I'll watch it with you guys. So I'm not gonna delay too long. I just want to make a couple announcements. Tomorrow is the worship gala for my church. We are raising money for a life drive that we have where we buy different supplies for Pregnancy Crisis Center. And so the link is on my Facebook. I'll go ahead and share that on other places too. But if you're in the Michigan area or you'd like to buy a ticket or sponsor a table just to support, you guys can do that. The adult ticket is $40. The table is like $170 or $175, something like that. So it's not expensive, but it's a good cause. We will have music and we will have comedy, and there will be food there to the Lafayette Grand in Pontiac. So if you're in the area, in the Michigan area, or you want to travel, it'll be great to have you there, see you there. But it's a good cause, and we had a really good time last time. So I'm looking for it tomorrow. I don't know exactly what I'm going to wear. I have to figure that out. I'll have to figure that out. So I guess something I'll have to figure out tonight. What I'll wear tomorrow. Also, I encourage you guys to go to blackteanews.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation on the website because it does cost to stream and run the site, all the good stuff you guys can support. I appreciate it. You guys can check out different merch that's available online. So go ahead and, look at the mugs and the t-shirts and all the kind of stuff. And I will encourage you guys to also go check out my books. I have 18 published altogether. And one of my books, or two of my books, are historical fiction fantasy. It's a series I'm still working on, but it takes place in the American Civil War era. It's about a slave named Charlotte who discovers that she has superpowers. So I think X-Men meets the American Civil War. It's a really cool series, really cool book. And I encourage you guys to check that out. Other books that I have, most of my books are fiction. I do have a nonfiction book. Of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion, which I encourage you guys to check out. The artist who did the cover art for that is my youngest sister. And she's also doing some artwork for me right now on a children's picture book about a little baby dinosaur. So we hope to have that done by Motor City Comic Con, which is in May. That's the hope. That's always like the hope, but she's pretty close to being done this time around. So anyway, without further ado, let me pull up this video so we can watch the mayhem. And people are, see people glad that Trump and them's dunking. People are like, oh my gosh, Zelenskyy is stupid, and some people are like, this is bad on both parts. And I guess we shall see what I think about all this. and this is like I think this is all, like the whole exchange, or at least so this is like a 10-minute. This isn't a clip. This is going to be uh a decently long watch. I'll try not to interject too much.
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side is exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I would respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What you are?
So, already right off the bat, Zelenskyy wanting to debate JD there is not a good look, probably. So, I can see where this is going to start going downhill. Obama back then talked about with the red line and don't cross it and stuff, and Putin didn't care. It really matters the strength of the United States of America, and that people trust that if you cross a line, that there will be consequences for that. And Obama didn't give that energy, and Joe didn't give that energy. And I think that Trump gives that energy. I definitely think George W., gave that energy too. He was, people call him the cowboy and all that other kind of stuff. So I think does Putin do all the things that he did if there was someone stronger at the helm of the United States leadership? I don't think so. I think we in a different world. But if he sees that weakness, he's going to pounce because he's not a good guy, obviously. And he would take what he could. So Zelenskyy mentioning that he broke a ceasefire, and everyone's like, oh, he'll never do X, Y, and Z. I guess those people are stupid for telling you that, because if there's a weak spot, an opening, and it benefits him to go after Ukraine, and it does, and he's going to do it. So I think it's good that someone strong is in the Oval Office, but Trump is you don't want to, I guess, get on his bad side. You want America to be the bully, but you want them to be the bully on your side. You know? So coming at this energy with JD, that's maybe fine if they want to bring that energy and have a debate afterwards, but they've already had this conflict and they're already annoyed with him about the mineral deal. Because Trump was like, oh, we're gonna have a deal, and then Zelensky saying, oh no, our people will be paying for that and reject. So they're already like annoyed, and you could see some of that with Trump saying that Zelensky was a dictator, and they had asked Trump about it the other day, and he's like, oh, I said that. So it was just kind of off a cuff remark. So there's some tension there already, and they could have had this blowout behind closed doors. I mean, that's what people are saying, and no doubt that diplomacy has some, kinks in it behind closed doors, wanting to get into this in front of like the press. Zelensky's playing theater, political theater. Trump also likes political theater. But I just wouldn't play those games, not in front of the cameras, when Trump is petty. And anyway, it just seems like a bad move. It just seems like a bad move.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I don't know how much it is gambling with World War III. That's what people say, and I'm not like a foreign policy expert, and I'll say that outright. But the rhetoric around Ukraine was always kind of fascinating because people like Biden and folks were just acting like it was the most important thing in the world to stop Putin and Russia and win in Ukraine. They're acting like it was the most important thing in the world. But at the same time, if you're going to pretend like that's the case, but at the same time not give them optimal resources to win, or make it clear that you don't want to be like involved yourself. And I'm not saying I want American troops on the ground or anything, but it seemed clear that it's just rhetoric that is the most important thing ever, because you're not willing to do what it takes to win. So I just always kind of felt like it was a bit disjointed and many of the things that they were doing and saying were theatrical, and a big issue with the Biden administration, you know, that the Trump administration is pushing back against when it comes to the Ukraine and the strategy is that, okay, it needs to end sometime and there needs to be an off ramp. You can't just have like unlimited money forever and fighting. And it's not just an issue of us just giving all this money. It's also an issue of you and your people and their people. There's just incredible amounts of death. And there needs to be some kind of conclusion, like a realistic conclusion. Like you're not going to get all of your land back. And like he's talking about like all this stuff has happened and no one's done anything for all this time. It's like, so you expected the US to go to war back then? Like there's no point in relitigating the past. Now you have to come to some kind of conclusion in the future and have some kind of really good security guarantees. And that's why Trump wants a financial benefit to make sure that there's always skin in the game. And I can understand Ukraine not wanting to give up, a certain amount of their financial prosperity for their country. But Trump is kind of playing in here like a little bit of a mob boss. So is that true? Someone said
that's back to you.
He's moving to impeach him. I'll have to look that up while they're talking.
More than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if speak very loudly about
Speaking loudly. No, speaking loudly. The country is in big.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
for
you
your president.
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me.
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
in 3
okay?
days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I
Accept-
said a lot of
accept
times
that there-
secret
accept
to
that-
American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going
I
on.
understand, sir.
I think it's very important.
JD was trying to reel that back in. We had to do another little stab there. JD saying like, I think it's disrespectful to try to do this in front of the media. I don't know. It doesn't seem like at this point that they're interested in like, let's air out our dirty laundry somewhere private. Like he broached the topic, the media is already there. Now it's just like a, I don't know, humiliation ritual now.
But that's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers. Listen,
Please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a
But I
ceasefire.
said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter for
me.
you what.
That wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was with
wasn't you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to this Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia?
Yeah. So to this comment I saw about Ukraine moving to impeach him, I don't know how much. I don't know how much about the inner workings of Ukraine, but there is Ukrainian MP Oleksandr Dubinsky just called. I'm sorry, I don't butchering the name. Just called for an emergency session of Ukraine's parliament to initiate impeachment proceedings against President Zelenskyy after an Oval Office shouting match. I will see where that goes. I mean, every party leader has opposition. I don't know how much momentum there will be to actually push him out or not. But yeah, that is an interesting thing that appears to be happening right now. Never bite the hand that feeds you. Yeah, that's also true. Zelensky, I mean, has said thank you and stuff, but you come to the meeting, he's not in a level of Trump is like holding the cards, is the one with the leverage, and has the ability to walk away from the deal. You know, this is a guy who wrote Art of the Deal, and Zelensky wanting to play the role of I don't know, of the person who has the cards or something, and confronting JD and looking like a hero while confronting JD about that stuff. They could have just, been like, let's go chat offline or whatever, because it is an important question to be like, or just important information to say, hey, we can't really trust Russia. Russia has done many things. And by the way, how much can you really trust people, period, or other countries, period? Because Ukraine had nukes, like they had nuclear weapons and stuff that was stockpiled, and they gave it up for promises that US and folks would take care of them in different situations. So, we cannot like that they need help, but we did promise to be there for them. Now, hindsight is 2020, but they should have did what was best for their country as far as being able to protect themselves. And I think every country should probably think about beefing up their military and capability of protecting themselves, and not just expecting the US to have that cash and manpower to always bail them out when there's some kind of issue. So it does make the most sense for them to make some kind of deal with the US for security guarantees, if they can somehow guarantee that the US will have some kind of vested interest in keeping their end of the bargain. Because, things change throughout the years. We have different leaders who are strong, who are weak, who'll be trifling, who'll backstab, So, my sister said, I know people are going to hate seeing this, but I actually like seeing the conversations that you would only see dramatized in movies. It's kind of funny and true. Yeah, there's an interesting aspect to it. I mean, a lot of people are like, this is probably what happens behind closed doors. I also I don't know, did Zelensky want to get more sympathy from the European allies and aid and money and guarantees from them by, socking it to JD and Trump? It's just I don't know, seems like a big miscalculation on his part, for sure. Say what are they are going to impeach the Ukrainian president? I mean, there's rumblings. I don't, know if that'll be the case or not. Let's keep watching this blowout.
Russia breaks ceasefire. What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
What
She's
if
asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with because Biden, they didn't respect him. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if he can make a deal.
That's a curious rant right there. So I thought that conversation was gonna go into I did all these sanctions because Donald Trump be like, oh, he's the art that people would make with Trump riding horseback behind Putin and then making out like that he was subservient to Vladimir and his puppet and all kinds of crazy stuff. And Trump, he might not have talked that tough, but they did a lot of different sanctions and stuff on Russia and was actually in reality quite tough on them. So that's where I thought he was gonna go with the I can control Russia. And I'm glad he mentioned they didn't respect Obama, but they respect me. I mean, I've seen former Obama people say that the war in Ukraine probably wouldn't have happened if Trump was president. But going into the Russia stuff, and that's an interesting rant, but it's fascinating because I have brought up the fact that Biden, like with the laptop, which he did mention, they're implicating a foreign nuclear power in election interference and all these other kinds of stuff. Now, I don't think that did vast damage to Putin or whatever. So I don't know, the way he's framing it seems a little strange, but the point is that they've done things to damage relations diplomatically for their own political gains domestically. Like getting the 51 intelligence agents together to try to debunk the laptop that Biden knew was real. The Hunter, of course, had to have known was real. The people in his, in authority that probably signed that letter must have known that was real because the FBI and other folks were notified of it earlier. And they still signed that so Biden could have something to point to when he would on the debate stage with Donald Trump. So I thought that was one of the most egregious things that Biden did. I was happy to see Trump them start stripping, clearances or whatever from people who were associated with the letter. It was an egregious, evil thing. And then the Russia collusion thing, that was not only a dig at something with Russia, but also undermined our faith in our elections, in our system, in our president. I mean, not me, because I always knew it was stupid. But there's a lot of people who went on the Russia scam for a long time. So if you can think that Russia installed a puppet to be our president and manipulated, I don't know, everybody, and Jill Stein, and even when we did the recount, people were alleging that systems or whatever was changed, or they were trying to, they didn't want to say it, but they were kind of pointing to it a little bit. And the recount was so stupid. I had to be part of that for a little bit in 2016. I was supposed to be on vacation and I had to count stupid ballots in Michigan. You know, they did an incredible disservice and really screwed up things domestically and also internationally, I would say, with their lies just to gain political power. It is one of the reasons why they're not in power now, but it sure did help them before. It helped them get Trump out of power and help them obtain power. So, Putin is the bad guy in this story. He's the bad guy in the story, but there's a lot of hands that are not clean here. That are definitely not clean. But do I think there was some kind of a big blowback on Putin because of the laptop? No, that seems silly, but yeah. Oh shoot. I just lost my place. Bear with me, we'll have to find it again.
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. You're people are dying.
I tell you, I heard it from Putin.
Except that there are
I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You know, and I want to kill.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
You say you don't want to
But I
ceasefire.
said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
Doesn't
with
matter for
me.
you what.
That
what
wasn't
is-
with me.
it
That was
wasn't
with
you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks?
Okay, let me skip ahead a little bit.
What
She's
if
asking-
Russia
Okay,
breaks-
Russia, it was a fight on top, broken deals with Obama. If you can make a deal, but you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but fight it out.
Yeah, okay, and that's the end of that clip exchange. Oh boy. Oh boy. So that's interesting. I wondered even how the tensions were starting off because even when he arrived, I mean, Trump was like laughing a little bit, but even you know how people have talked about Zelenskyy just always wearing like this sweatsuit, you know, and not coming in a suit and a tie. Even when he came to address Congress, he wasn't, you know, I don't believe he was dressed up either. So there was this too.
Pretty close. How are you? Pretty shut.
He's all dressed up today.
President Trump, what's your message to Vladimir Putin, sir? President Trump, you got enough. President Trump, you got a message to Vladimir Putin.
Thank you very much.
He's all dressed up today. So Elon had reposted that and quoted it and did a little laughing emoji. So I think that little jab might have been like, bro, you're coming to the US, you're coming in the Oval White House to come and have a conversation, and and you're still looking like a bum. Like like you know, maybe I'm misinterpreting that a bit, but because he's laughing and smiling and stuff, but seeing how the conversation kind of went, I don't know, maybe it's a little passive aggressive, like, dude, show up, be professional, be gracious, be, you know, yeah. So do I think it's a bad thing that they all had to blow up in front of everybody? I don't I don't know. I mean, people be saying people are saying things like this was the wildest, craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, and you don't see that kind of drama, I guess, right in front of your face with world leaders, but you know that behind the scenes, like people yell and scream and do all kinds of different things. So, Trump and MAGA, like people are sharing it with like flame emojis saying, "Oh, he told him off. They told him off," and they showed him who's boss. So, I as far as that crowd goes, I don't think it obviously plays bad that Trump did that. Folks who don't like Trump are going to be dismayed that it all went like that. Gosh, I wonder what they're saying on CNN right now. MSNBC, they're probably flipping the freak out about it. And I guess the most interesting blowback would be Zelenskyy. Like, did he achieve some kind of political goal where, I don't know, the rest of Western allies and Europe and stuff take sympathy and toward him and you know, make sure that they're going to be the ones to uplift them and they don't have to deal with the US significantly. I don't know. But there was some polling that came out by the Harvard Caps Harris poll, and they polled on the Ukraine stuff, and most voters do want some kind of settlement negotiation with Russia. So people do want to see some kind of a ending there. It's not good to have sort of no achievable objective when you're costing lives and spending a bunch of money and stuff. And then you got to think about, I know it's not our soldiers who are being killed in this, but think about the toll that has, you know, on the people who are in battle, like long term. You know, if these people are willing to fight and they want to save their country, I get that, and I understand that, but you do have to have real expectations, especially when you have to deal with so many different allies, and it's, you know, so as Trump said, they're holding all the cards. Zelensky's not holding all the cards. Trump did, well, the White House, or Trump's account itself, posted something after this. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelenskyy is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I don't want advantage. I want peace. Oh, wow. But he disrespected the United States of America and its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. Ooh. Ooh. That is spicy, guys. That is spicy. Oh boy. This reminds me of a story. We were talking about struggle meals and growing up and stuff and what we had for dinner, and sometimes it was like don't have a lot of money, and a lot of times it was like don't feel like putting maximum effort into cooking. My mom could cook. She did not like to cook, but she was a very good cook. And she had you know, 7 children, husband, and she just didn't love to cook. And but there were times when things were tough, and we were talking about like watering down cans of chicken noodle soup to feed the family and grilled cheese and things like that. And so one time, I don't even remember what we had for dinner, but we didn't want it. And I don't even remember. I remember being there when she said it. I don't think she said it to me. But I know I was there in the kitchen. But we were complaining about the food, what was being served, and we wanted something else, you know. Um, maybe maybe we wanted McDonald's or something because we lived. There's a row of houses behind us, and then behind that was like a main street Telegraph, and Telegraph had like everything on it. It had McDonald's and Taco Bell and Arby's, and the mall was a little further down, and another like shopping complex was not far. So it was a very big hot spot as far as you could get anything. But we wanted, I think, McDonald's or something, and so she just went off. My mom, she's a very quiet woman. She could voice her opinion though, and so she just said, "Shut up, you ungrateful! You're lucky you ain't eating soup." So, you know, I that's just what this statement from Trump reminded me of. Like, just shut up, you ungrateful. You're lucky you're not eating soup, and you've come in too big and too bad, and again, it sounds like you need to be a little bit more desperate for peace. Um, so Jeez. Jeez. Um, I don't think it's fair to say that is it fair to say that he doesn't want peace? Is it fair to say that? I mean, I think he clearly wants to win, and that victory would be regaining land that is probably not possible for him to obtain again. Not without it blowing up into a bigger kind of catastrophe, or maybe bringing other countries and stuff actually in to fight. So I guess it just excuse me, it depends on what he comes to as far as what are realistic expectations to end this all. And I don't think he has I don't think he's there yet. Zelenskyy though did put out a tweet. Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working extremely. We are working exactly for that. So, I wonder what the. Let me see some of these quote tweets. Some people are saying that he used some some not so nice language under his breath in his native tongue. Not sure if that's true or not. Someone said you will learn today that you did not disrespect your president. Let me turn that music down. This is when Trump like pushes himself like to the front, like you know, this man is mind blown. Who does he think he is? Attitude he was showing to the president and VP of the United States. Oh, this is louder with Crowder Mug Club meme. Zelenskyy missing Biden. I wonder how many of these conversations they actually had with Biden, knowing that he wasn't all there anyway. Glenn Beck said, "We are not blind to who Putin is, but we are not blind to who you are." Ooh, snap. You are rude, arrogant, manipulative. You are a rude, arrogant, and manipulative man. We are and always will be with your people, but I am glad that we are finally done with you. I sincerely hope we begin to track the graft, bribery, and corruption that has greeted our money, we will not be surprised to find much of it hiding in your coffers. It's a pretty big statement there, Glenn. You disrespected our nation, our people, and our elected government. You are an arrogant, ungrateful, entitled buffoon whose incompetence threatens our country's security. Insolvency, rescind your ban on elections, resign, and allow your people to pick a leader who's interested in peace, not forever war. This kind of breaks my heart. I really feel for him. He loves his country and has every right to demand that an invading army be removed from it. That's true. But he also knows that he just made a terrible mistake at a critical moment and that it may have cost his country the support it needs. Yeah. Maybe he had no like theatrical plan there. Maybe it was just he couldn't hold his tongue and he wanted to debate and it just really backfired. Maybe there was no maybe he wasn't doing political theater in that moment. Maybe he was just unwisely pushing back against JD. Trump and Vance are bullies and have little grasp of the situation facing Ukraine. The U.S. has spent about 1/3 of the $350 billion Trump claims, and Europe has sent more. Europe must up its game. The European NATO and defense Ukraine against bullies in the Kremlin and in the White House. Well, Europe should definitely up it for sure. Someone forgot to cancel their scheduled tweet. The shining city upon a hill has gone dark. Once the protector of the West, of democracy, of the free world, is now demanding interest for defending its own ideas. If America no longer stands for freedom, Ukraine and Europe must. Well, they asked JD Vance about his comments that he said about different European nations and their lack of free speech. So people were still mad about defending those values, but Trump is a populist. He's very much America first. That doesn't mean that everybody else around the world gets left in the dust, but Trump doesn't like war. If he does war and decides to like war, it's wars that are fast and decisively won. If he has to drop the mother of all bombs on you, boom, like great, like you're done. And he gets to come out on the podium and be all happy and be like, America's the best. I'm the strongest. We hit him tough. We hit tougher than anyone ever would have, that kind of bravado. He likes going and like bragging on about different terrorists that they took out and telling the stories. Like he's fine with hitting hard and fast, but he doesn't want the forever war stuff. He doesn't want to be there a long time. No one wants to have relive the days of 20-year wars where you come in with a goal in mind and then the goal changes and evolves and it's not an achievable goal. My sister is reading Condoleezza Rice's book and she says it's very fascinating listening to their perspective on the war on terror, and she said she really does believe that they believed that the war on terror and all the things that they were doing and achieving diplomacy and trying to change the Middle East and spread democracy and all that stuff was, noble goals, at least in their mind. And she was listening to an audiobook when we were driving down to DC. And so I only heard some of it because we listened to it for very long. And there was a portion where they were talking about something and Dick Cheney wanted to move to like bomb something or whatever. And she's like, I thought we should do diplomacy and whatever. And I just thought it was funny. Like Dick was ready to go. She's like, let's talk it out. But she really did believe in, diplomacy and they had noble goals, or at least some people had noble goals. And we had brought this up at a dinner, And people in the room were like, no, we believe Condoleezza had noble goals. The other folks are like warmongers. But people still don't want to have a long, drawn out thing that never ends, and that ends up spilling over and costing American lives and more money when we don't have. We were already in a deficit, so I was thinking about if Trump was president back in the day, because people would always say that that Bush was going into the Middle East to steal oil and stuff like that. And then it was funny because when gas prices started getting pretty high, people were like, "I thought we went in for the oil. Where's all the oil? Why is gas high?" And there's even like a Black Bush skit that Dave Chappelle did back in the day where he was just like playing George Bush. And they're like, someone in the media brought up the oil. He's like, oil. He's like, we ain't talking about no Crisco. No, nobody's cooking like nothing. What you talking about? You got no oil? What are you talking about? And then they just kind of ran away. Trump probably would have been like, yeah, we're over there. We're liberating the people. Like, yeah, we're gonna take the oil. Like we're gonna like 15%, 20%. Like, So he really doesn't like to get ripped off. So he wants some skin in the game, and you could not like it. You can feel like it's a little bit of extortion or whatever, but having there be some skin in the game it makes more sense for like long. It's an investment. That's how Trump thinks. Investments pay off. If there's some kind of financial incentive for the U.S. to continuously keep protecting Ukraine and stuff, I think that's a better guarantee than give up your nuclear weapons. We'll be with you one day. Because that obviously didn't pan out. They made a mistake a long time ago. They made a huge mistake a long time ago. Charlie Kirk said, we don't support you. Show some respect next time. You are an ungrateful, petulant child who's responsible for 1 million dead. Tough words, Charlie. He might have started as a comedian, but Zelenskyy has proven that he is no joke. Facing hostility in the Oval Office, he stood his ground with dignity, reminding the world that Ukraine needs real peace guarantees against an aggressive tyrant history will remember. The guy goes to the U.S. seeking help and realizes that they need more help than him, says thanks, and goes back to his home. Hero. Yeah, that's not what I saw. Anyway, oof, drama. Austria and all of the European countries were not the U.S.'s problem in 1938. 4 years later, hundreds of thousands of Americans were killed in battle. Smart move, genius. I think that I don't think that it's good to be total isolationist or anything like that. But you do need some kind of what I guess what's the what's the alternatives here, I guess, because JD and Trump and folks keep saying like when is it going to end, how are we going to end it, like you don't have a realistic path to regaining all that territory, so you gotta come ready to deal, or it's just going to continue on. If Europe is ready to do that, I don't I don't feel like I do feel for Zelenskyy, and when I first started reading about the Ukraine war, I'm like, oh gosh, we do kind of, I would say there is supposed to be some kind of obligation because they did expect people to help them once they gave up their weapons, but that was a bad call for them. But it was I guess, a broken promise for us. But that's why I'm saying that having skin in the game is probably the best security guarantee for the U.S. and for Ukraine. You know, and I think there were as far as the U.S. dragging its feet with the like World War II and stuff like that. Yeah, there were signs that they should have got in earlier, but they sure did get in when it came knocking at their door, our door. Yeah, rewind to the Bush years when the left was saying we need to mind our own business when it comes to other countries. That was a thing. That was a thing. I don't know how old everyone is watching. I don't think my crowd is like super young. I think everyone's like probably around my age or maybe older. But yeah, you guys probably remember as we kept nation building and all that stuff, that was the major rhetoric on the left, that we need to mind our own business and not be nation building and all kinds of different stuff. So I think so much like emotional attachment of the left and from just from the Democrats in general to Ukraine is because not just because Putin is bad, but I don't know, saw some kind of Trump Putin connection, and they're like the bad guys, and Ukraine to them is the good. It's just, Putin did invade, that he's a very bad person, but there was something deeper, more psychological about it too, because even some of like there was a story where they people were mad because Papa John's wouldn't close a pizza place, I think in Ukraine, like in Russia or something, and barring Russians from different global activities and just wanting to punish everybody on a global stage. And there was like just this hyper persecution that was kind of weird. It weirded me out anyway. Someone said, how did I get that YouTube comment to pop up? I am streaming on StreamYard, and I have 3 different streaming I'm streaming from 3 different places, so I can see comments from 3 different sources. I know you guys on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch can't see each other, but I see all of you. I see all of you. I don't get a lot of people from Twitch actually coming in and watching a lot, so sometimes people on Twitch will come in like, I know you see me. I'm the only one here. Talk to me. I'm like, you are not the only one I'm engaging with. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. Yeah, yeah, I've been using StreamYard for a while. Some people have said I should use just OBS, but I don't know if OBS you could do all that at the same time. And maybe if I get a producer, I think that might be a lot for me to manage all that stuff too. Plus, it's just kind of easier this way with StreamYard. Someone said Zelensky's been wearing a costume this whole time. I do think a lot of this is everybody does political theater. Dressing that he just stepped out of a trench. Yeah, I do think it's weird that you don't put on a suit and tie. I would assume that Trump doesn't love that. Just, I don't know. Not saying that he doesn't mind when people don't dress up like on like everyday occasions or whatever, but I'm used to seeing him like on The Apprentice, and everybody comes in the boardroom and they're dressed, for the occasion or whatever. So I just assume when you come to the White House dressed for the occasion that, you should be dressed for the occasion. So I think his comment was passive aggressive. Just going through your comments, seeing if there's anything else interesting. We're already at an hour. Yeah, this was a. Do you guys like that? You guys saw the blow up in person, and it's not just whispers reported in like the Washington Post or something. Do you guys do I know a good dad joke? I'm not off the top of my head or whatever. I don't really have dad joke humor. I don't really have dad joke humor too much. Kimba says yes. Someone said just popping in, drop a like. What did you miss today? We watched the Trump Zelenskyy blow up. That's what you missed today. It's hot news, man. It's hot news. Jeez. It is hot news. I thought I was gonna come on here and complain about young Republicans inviting Andrew Tate or something to speak, and definitely more interesting news than that. Skyfall Bunchi said, "You guys know we can all see the video, right? All Vance did was make a general reference to diplomacy while criticizing Joe Biden. The conversation had wrapped up at that point. Zelenskyy chose to freak out over the mention of diplomacy in public. That's his mistake." That's true. That's really true. And because Vance, the point of his statement was really to trash the former administration. And because he was talking about basically their failed diplomacy, not really Zelensky's. And maybe he just decided to internalize that and go back or whatever. But their interpretation of the events really could be like, oh, this guy, he's not hungry enough for a deal. Like he doesn't want diplomacy. To come and act this way, it looks like you're trying to blow up the deal. In Trump's mind, in his world, you have to be the one who has the leverage and who can walk away from the deal. Even if you need the deal, you need to be able to be willing to walk away from it. So it's like a Princess border of drama. I guess I do kind of love it. My sister said it's nice to see it at least once. Probably won't from another president. Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating because otherwise you would just hear about different snippets reported like in Washington Post or Politico, and you'd wonder if this is legit, and you definitely wouldn't have these visuals. But I'm scrolling Twitter to see if there's any like interesting remarks I want to point out before I let you guys go today. What a fascinating Friday. What a fascinating day. Oh. Butchki had another line. Unlimited aid to Ukraine or you support dictators is the worst possible argument some of you could be making right now if you actually care about this issue. This White House isn't doing the emotional blackmail thing anymore, so you better figure out a better approach. That is true. That is true. They want an exit. They don't want to keep spending money on all this. One of the trigonometry guys says, a lens I found helpful for understanding any event conducted in front of cameras is performative. If cameras are present, people are very rarely talking to each other. Usually they are addressing whatever a constituency they are trying to please convert, appease, stir up, etc. I think that's uh I think that's very true. I think Trump though is very Trump on camera and off camera. Um and like Ben Shapiro was talking about, like Trump did, like in private or in public events and others, like Trump didn't really switch up his approach, his style, like who he was. So I think he's very much who he is. I'm not saying that he doesn't have blowups and other things like that you haven't seen publicly that happened off camera. I'm not saying things I'm not saying that, but I think I'm saying I don't necessarily think this had to have been performative on their part, but I think he admitted in the video that he let it go on for a reason. So he let you know in the video that he wanted the cameras there for a moment of instruction. And JD Vance, he brought up that it was disrespectful for Zelenskyy to address this stuff, to litigate this stuff in front of the media. But then JD Vance advanced himself. So they were there to be performative at that point, because they could have been like, hey, we're gonna have this is rude to have this conversation in front of the press, you down low and dirty. So we're gonna dismiss you all, and we're gonna have a conversation in private. You have a good day. That's what they could have. That's what he could have done. That's not what JD wanted to do. I guess my biggest kind of question is Zelensky's end goal with this, and if it's I want to blow up things with the U.S. to motivate my European allies to basically cover my end game and my mission. I don't know how well that's gonna. It might pan out a little bit for a little while, but definitely not to achieve, I think, any kind of meaningful victory. Anyway, I guess that's it for today, guys. Apostate Prophet said, no matter what you think of Zelenskyy, Ukraine, Putin is not the good guy. He's a warmonger, Russia imperialist whose ambitions are not limited to Ukraine. Yeah, I think that is true. But again, I've already said this, but people who act like and I'm not saying this is, I'm not like directly trying to push back against Apostate Prophet, but just people who talk about Ukraine as if it's the most important thing ever for the West and democracy and so on. Like, this is a standoff where we have to defeat Russia, or else, I don't know, there's going to be World War III, or Russia's going to advance and do this, etc., blah, blah, blah. If that were the case, I expected America to make some different moves than what we have been making, and continuously writing checks to the end of time and not seeing a resolution isn't a good strategy or what I would like to do. But it also does not scream, this is the biggest threat to the West and democracy, and the number one thing is that we need to stop Russia. I don't think that's the case, because or at least they're not acting for real. Like, that's the issue, and that's the reality, because they would have made different moves and hinted that there were different things that we'd be willing to do as a country to stop Russia. So there's a lot of political theater everywhere on both sides, on all sides of this issue, for sure. Anyway, someone said they think Z is addicted to the white powdery stuff. I've seen, is that just like a big joke, or I've seen a lot of people say that. I think some people, and perhaps you as well, are serious about that. You can never tell with these leaders. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content, the website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate, because this costs a stream and run my website, all those good things. So if you guys can support, I very much do appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. You guys can also support by checking out different merch that's available on the website. We got different t-shirts and hoodies. I'm Not the Victim You're Looking For is one of my favorite t-shirts. I have a faith book called Slay Your Fear, How to Overcome a Spirit of Fear. I wrote that during COVID time. It's not specifically about COVID, but man, people needed this advice because people were like lost their minds. I have another nonfiction book. Of course, God is blatantly against abortion. I encourage you guys to check that out as well. But I have 18 books altogether. Most of them are fiction books. I have historical fiction, fantasy, contemporary fantasy, children's chapter books, etc. And there'll be more. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, there's a link in the description that will take you to like an Amazon page that will have all my books listed, and then you can look up stuff from Amazon. Also, if you're in the southeast area of Michigan, I just want to remind you guys that tomorrow my church is having a gala where we'll have music and comedy and food. And so come, you get a ticket, come dress nice. And the fundraiser is raising funds for our Life Drive, where we get supplies and things for a pregnancy crisis center. Pregnancy crisis centers are there for women in crisis or in need, for their children who maybe can't afford diapers and clothes and other things like that. So we make sure that they have those things for their centers so they can help women in need. And so hopefully they can choose life and make better decisions for their families and stuff. So anyway, thank you guys so much. And I will see you on Monday. Hopefully, I'm no longer sick. Pray. Hopefully you guys be good. Have a good, safe weekend. And I'll see